Have you ever looked at your life, tallied the hours you've sacrificed, the sleep you've missed, the genuine, bone-deep effort you pour into your career or business, and felt a burning, frustrated question rise in your chest? Why isn't it easier? You are not lazy. You are not incompetent. In fact, you are likely one of the hardest working people you know. Yet, the relationship you have with money feels like an endless uphill battle against gravity. Every paycheck seems to arrive with a whisper of relief only to be immediately shouted down by the necessity of the next payment. Prosperity, in your experience, is not a state of being. It's a constant, precarious, high-stakes sprint. This isn't just about the numbers in your bank account. This is about an energetic exhaustion that permeates every aspect of your life. It's the hidden shame you feel when you avoid checking your balances. It's the knot of anxiety that tightens when an unexpected expense arises. It's the silent, constant negotiation in your mind. Should I spend this? Can I afford that? Will this effort be enough to finally stabilize things? For too many of us, money isn't a tool for freedom. It's a ruthless, demanding employer that dictates our moods, our choices, and even our self-worth. Where did this deeply exhausting dynamic come from? You, the hero of this financial journey, have carried a heavy weight for far too long. Perhaps you grew up internalizing narratives that subtly, or perhaps quite loudly, taught you that wealth is inherently linked to suffering. Maybe you absorbed the cultural myth that to succeed financially, you must grind until you break. That true gain is synonymous with painful sacrifice. Phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, you have to suffer for success, or even the insidious belief that the truly rich are fundamentally unhappy were not just casual sayings. They were blueprints downloaded directly into your subconscious operating system. You believed these narratives because they felt true to your lived experience. When you tried to relax, the guilt crept in. When you finally achieved the goal, you immediately focus on the next potential failure. This programming dictates that if you aren't fighting, you aren't earning. It forces you to operate from a constant state of scarcity, even when you are financially solvent, trapping you in a cycle where fear of losing is a more powerful motivator than the joy of having. This is a core conflict. You are trying to build abundance using tools forged in the fire of scarcity. The profound tension builds when you realize that your results don't reflect your tremendous effort. The harder you chase money, the further it seems to slip away, creating a vicious loop of frustration and self-doubt. You follow the conventional advice, you've cut the expenses, you've upped the hustle, but the internal feeling of lack persists, almost immune to external changes. This persistent emotional scarcity is the antagonist we must face. It is the mental programming that teaches you only how to survive, perpetually holding prosperity just out of reach. But there's a turning point, a profound moment of realization that shifts the entire trajectory of this battle. What if the solution isn't to work harder? What if the true path to abundance requires you to work smarter, not with your spreadsheets, but with your mind? The universe operates on resonance, and your mind is the most powerful transmitting field you possess. When you unconsciously think, feel, and vibrate scarcity, your reality simply mirrors that internal state. If money is currently fleeing your life, it is because your deep, underlying frequency is subconsciously signaling conflict and repulsion. The liberation comes when you understand this fundamental truth. You don't need to fight for money. You need to align with it. Financial self-mastery is less about discipline and more about emotional congruence. It is about transforming your internal landscape so radically that your external reality has no choice but to shift to match the new frequency you are emitting. This realization is not mystical. It is purely psychological and energetic. We're going to stop treating the symptoms, the debt, the low income, the missed opportunities, and start addressing the root cause, the deeply entrenched beliefs about your worthiness and the nature of wealth itself. To fully align with abundance, we must first become archaeologists of our own minds. We must dig into the bedrock of our financial reality, locating the origins of this constant struggle. Your current financial blueprint, the subconscious script dictating every spending habit, Every saving decision and every career move was not written by the rational adult you are today. It was primarily authored between the ages of 7 and 12, filtered through the eyes of a child observing their primary caregivers and their immediate environment. Think back to those formative years. What was the background noise of money in your home? Was money a source of joy and ease, or tension, hushed arguments, and palpable anxiety? For many of us, money was the silent, unavoidable villain of the household drama. We learned about money not from ledgers, but from emotional reactions. We witnessed the stress in a parent's face after a tough workday, instantly correlating income with pain. We heard the sharp, dismissive tone used when discussing successful people, instantly correlating wealth with unworthiness or corruption. These early observations crystallized into profound, often contradictory, beliefs. Perhaps you learned the only way to be secure is to hoard, leading to extreme frugality and an inability to invest or enjoy your earnings. Or maybe you observed, money is fleeting and should be spent quickly before it disappears, leading to cycles of earning and immediate self-sabotaging spending. These aren't just thoughts. They are deeply grooved neural pathways established during critical developmental periods, which fire instantly when faced with any financial decision, effectively bypassing your adult logic. The tragedy is that these beliefs are often aimed at self-protection. The child in you decided, based on observation, that if success caused stress in your parents, then safety meant staying small, or prosperity meant working constantly, then true freedom lay in never having too much responsibility. The first step toward rewriting the script is simply acknowledging the source. You are not inherently flawed or bad with money. You are simply running outdated software. When you feel that tightness in your chest when contemplating a large investment, or that urge to buy something unnecessary when you feel stressed, that is not your authentic adult choice. That is the programming hijacking the controls. It's crucial to separate your identity from this conditioning. You are not your scarcity belief. You are the observer who now has the power to edit the code. This awareness is where your true power begins to reside, moving you out of the victim stance, where money happens to you, and into creator stance, where money flows through you, guided by conscious choice. The patterns we are about to confront are powerful, but they are not permanent. They are simply memories played on repeat. Understanding that your past environment created your current emotional reality around money gives you the compassionate space needed to stop judging yourself and start transforming your habits at the root level. Now that we understand the origins of the programming, it's time to confront the specific lies it tells you. There are 3 pervasive myths that act as silent saboteurs, locking the brakes on your financial flow. The first myth is, I must struggle to be worthy. This belief demands suffering as a prerequisite for reward. If you earn easily, your subconscious interprets it as dangerous or undeserved. We must replace this myth with the truth. I am inherently worthy of ease and abundance. Worthiness is not earned through exhaustion. It is a birthright. Financial freedom is not a reward for pain. It is a natural consequence of alignment and focused value creation. Stop glorifying the hustle that breaks you. Start recognizing that genuine prosperity is generated from a place of joy, energy, and inspiration, not depletion. The second core myth is, there's not enough for me. This is the classic scarcity mindset. It convinces you that if someone else wins, you lose. This belief contracts your energy and blinds you to opportunities. When your mind is focused on lack, it literally filters out evidence of abundance, seeing only threat and competition. We replace this with the truth. The universe is infinitely abundant, and my prosperity enhances the world. Financial growth is not a zero-sum game. When you thrive, you create jobs, you circulate energy, and you inspire others. Wealth is not a finite pie to be fought over. It is a renewable resource created through ingenuity and service. Every time you catch yourself comparing or worrying about another person's success, repeat this truth. Their light does not dim mine. It shows me what is possible. The third paralyzing myth is, money is complex, stressful, and beyond my control. This is a surrender myth. The belief that financial success requires a level of genius or luck you simply don't possess. This myth leads to financial paralysis, procrastination, and avoidance of checking balances, because avoidance feels safer than confrontation. The truth is, I am a capable financial steward, and clarity creates confidence. Money is simply a tool, an energy, and a measure of value exchange. It is not inherently good or evil. It is neutral. By engaging with your finances with curiosity rather than dread, you demystify the process. By taking intentional, small actions, you reclaim control. Stop seeing complexity where there is only a lack of consistent attention. Reprogramming these myths is the intellectual turning point, but real change requires anchoring these new truths in emotional reality. Mindset shifts are not passive events. They require conscious, daily ritual to solidify the new neural pathways. We must move beyond intellectual agreement and establish emotional congruence. The most powerful tool for this shift is the practice of intentional gratitude, especially around money. Most people only feel grateful when they receive money, which reinforces a feeling that abundance is external and conditional. We need to flip that switch. Start a daily practice of listing 5 things you are genuinely grateful for that money has provided, not just today, but in your history. Be grateful for the roof over your head, the coffee you enjoyed this morning, the internet access that allows you to read this. This isn't superficial positivity. It's an energetic recalibration. When you operate from a frequency of appreciation for what you have, you signal to your brain that you're already in a state of sufficiency, which opens the door for more flow. Next, integrate guided visualization. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined reality and a current, physical experience. If you continually visualize yourself stressed, rushed, or worried about bills, your brain will produce the corresponding neurochemistry. Instead, dedicate 10 minutes daily to sitting in the feeling of financial stability. Don't just visualize a number in the bank. Feel the deep, calming relief of having more than enough. Imagine the freedom to make choices from inspiration, not fear. What does your body feel like when you are financially secure? Anchor that feeling deeply. This practice reprograms emotional association with money from one of fear to one of profound safety and possibility. Finally, use financial journaling as a tool for emotional release and clarity. Write down not just what you spend, but how you feel when you spend and when you earn. If you feel guilt spending $5 on coffee, explore that feeling without judgment. If you feel immediate anxiety upon receiving a large sum, explore that fear. Bringing these unconscious emotional reactions into light strips them of their power. This process of intentional observation bridges the gap between your highest goals, abundance, and your daily habits, unconscious reaction. These small, persistent actions are the true leverage points. They shift your vibration from chasing money out of desperation to attracting money from a place of empowered alignment. The ultimate goal of this journey is not merely accumulating wealth. It is claiming your new identity as a financial self-master. This shift moves you away from seeing money as something you get and towards seeing it as something you create and circulate. A financial self-master understands that prosperity is intrinsically linked to the value they provide and the purpose they serve. True abundance isn't just about personal acquisition. It's about being a conduit for good. When you align your financial goals with meaningful purpose, be it supporting your family, funding a significant creative project, or investing in community, you imbue your money with magnetic energy. This new identity requires emotional maturity and ethical congruence. It means understanding that managing money well is a moral obligation to yourself and those you serve. When you are financially stressed, your capacity for generosity, creativity, and patience shrinks. When you are financially stable, your capacity expands. Therefore, seeking prosperity is not selfish. It is foundational to maximizing your contribution to the world. A financial self-master never operates from a place of frantic scarcity. They operate from a calm, strategic understanding of their value. They set prices and negotiate based on their worth, not their need. To embody this identity, start talking like the person you are becoming. Eliminate scarcity language like, "I can't afford that," or "I never have enough," and replace it with empowering questions. How can I afford that? Or what value must I create to attract this? The shift in language reinforces a shift in belief. See yourself not as someone struggling to get by, but as an energetic CEO of your own life, strategically directing resources and attention toward growth. This new identity recognizes that money is simply feedback on the value provided. If the feedback isn't what you desire, you don't blame the money. You refine the value and adjust the energy. You are stepping fully into the role of creator, recognizing that you don't wait for wealth to come to you. You actively draw it into the power of your aligned intention and service. Emotional maturity is knowing that money is not the root of all evil, but rather an amplifier of who you already are. Use this tool responsibly, ethically, and joyfully. We have established the conflict, diagnosed the programming, and claimed the new identity. Now, the final step is locking in this change through conscious commitment. Transformation is a daily choice, not a one-time event. True financial self-mastery is a commitment to continually check your emotional alignment against your financial outcomes. Whenever stress or doubt creeps back in, ask yourself, which script is playing right now? Is this the voice of my past scarcity or the voice of my abundant future? I want you to take a deep breath, settle your shoulders, and allow yourself to truly feel the truth of this final affirmation. Repeat this silently, letting the words sink into your core. I release the myth that struggle is necessary for success. I am a magnet for money and opportunity because I am a magnet for value and service. I manage my resources with wisdom and joy, and my wealth creates positive impact in the world. Money flows to me easily, frequently, and abundantly. Feel the heavy cloak of must struggle dropping away. Imagine that energy is now clean, free-flowing water, rushing toward you, not fighting against you. Your relationship with money is not transactional. It is deeply personal and energetic. By choosing alignment over anxiety, clarity over avoidance, and worthiness over exhaustion, you fundamentally change the gravitational pull of your financial life. You are moving from survival mode to generative creation. This is your commitment now. To treat your financial mind with the same respect and intentionality you would treat your most important creative endeavor. End the battle. Start the creation. You are ready now to welcome the flow. Your financial evolution has begun. You are worthy of thriving, and the world is ready for you to share your abundance. The final layer of financial transformation is not about a sudden windfall. It is about calibrating your internal machinery for sustained abundance. Consider, for a moment, the concept of the financial thermostat. This is the invisible, subconscious setting that dictates the maximum comfort level you permit yourself to hold regarding assets and income. If your thermostat is currently set to, say, comfortably scraping by, any unexpected surge of income, while initially exciting, will trigger a deep systemic anxiety. Your internal system, designed to keep you safe in the familiar zone, will unconsciously create chaos, unexpected expenses, or poor investments to swiftly lower the financial temperature back to your established comfort zone. True commitment, therefore, means consciously resetting this thermostat to a level that aligns with your highest vision of prosperity and, critically, accepting the temporary psychological discomfort that comes with operating at a higher frequency. Consequently, maintaining this new calibration requires vigilant attention to your environmental feedback loops. Beyond the purely psychological, we must recognize that our physical and digital surroundings act as constant reinforcement mechanisms for our mental state. If your workspace is cluttered with neglected paperwork that reminds you of past financial disorganization, or if your digital life is characterized by overwhelming bill notifications and ignored financial reports, you are inadvertently giving oxygen to the old scarcity script. Financial self-mastery demands environmental precision. This means actively designing your surroundings, creating an abundant zone for planning and vision casting, ruthlessly eliminating physical and digital clutter that represents stagnation, and ensuring that your daily sensory input reflects order, respect, and anticipation of growth. The system must support the shift, Relying solely on willpower when your environment is actively fighting you is an unsustainable strategy. Furthermore, the mechanical process of long-term commitment involves mastering the pattern interrupt, the deliberate, immediate stoppage of a reactionary cycle. When faced with financial trigger, be it a looming deadline, an aggressive sales pitch, or sudden fear of loss, the old programming will surge. You might feel the familiar urge to avoid checking the email, to impulsively spend, or to freeze in indecision. The commitment is to insert a cognitive gap here. Stop, take 3 deep breaths, and verbally articulate, "This impulse belongs to my history, not my destiny." By naming the old fear for what it is, a ghost of past conditioning, you create the neural space necessary to choose the aligned action. This micro moment of conscious intervention separates yourself from the obsolete programming, strengthening the new neural pathway and accelerating the process of synaptic pruning, whereby the brain actively weakens the connections supporting the old beliefs. Building on this operational discipline, the commitment must be anchored deeply into the physical senses through future pacing. It is not enough to simply think about wealth. You must make the feeling of future prosperity a present-day reality in your body. Dedicate 5 minutes each morning to not just visualizing the outcome, but embodying the sensory experience of a long-term goal realized. What is the specific weight of the pen in your hand as you sign a massive, value-creating contract? What does the air smell like on the purposeful retreat you afford yourself? How does your chest feel? Calm, expansive, light, when you realize your financial independence is completely secured. By assigning vivid, detailed sensory anchors to the future, you stop treating abundance as an abstract concept and cement it as an emotionally urgent, achievable destination. This sensory commitment transforms distant hope into magnetic present-day action, turning every small daily choice into a powerful step toward the inevitable outcome you have so completely defined. This dedication to congruence, detail, and environmental support ensures that your reprogrammed mindset is not just a temporary fix, but a bedrock of a lifetime of sustained, joyful prosperity. Reflecting on this journey so far, you may feel a subtle yet profound change in the ambient noise of your inner world. Where there was once a pervasive, grating static of anxiety and the exhausting clamor of internal conflict, a new quiet resolution begins to resonate. This is the sound of your internal system ceasing its self-sabotage, recognizing that the constant friction you once accepted as the necessary cost of earning was, in fact, merely unnecessary resistance created by misaligned psychological components. We've accomplished the deep work of excavating the roots, recognizing that the external financial landscape was simply a shifting shadow cast by internal emotional and mental architecture. The true challenge was never the market. It was a mechanism of belief dictating your response to it. The cumulative effect of this focused awareness is analogous to meticulously reassembling a complex timepiece. Each emotional revelation, each debunked myth, and each small, consistent action we've discussed has served as a precision tool, calibrating the gears. You are moving from a state where your clock was constantly losing time, running sporadically on the inconsistent energy of fear, to a state where flow is smooth, rhythmic, and trustworthy. The small, intentional acts of gratitude and focused visualization are not chores or mere suggestions. They are the high-grade oil in this newly functional clockwork, ensuring that the movement remains perpetually fluid and precise. This transition signals the end of working against the powerful, energetic current of your life and the beginning of steering within it. Consider the energy previously consumed by avoidance, guilt, and the relentless chase. That energy is now being redirected. It is being transmuted into deliberate focus and anticipatory confidence. The water, representing opportunity and resources, was always present, but the channel was choked by old expectations and inherited psychological debris. Now, the channel is clear. The mind, no longer dedicated to running complex programs designed to shield you from perceived risk, is freed up for genuine creation and strategic thinking. This integration of clarified awareness and emotional worthiness transforms effort into undeniable leverage. You start working from inspiration, not desperation, which is a foundational difference between merely scraping by and effortlessly scaling. The person staring back at you now possesses a fundamentally different operational manual. You have transitioned from merely reacting to the market's fluctuations to deliberately directing your value exchange within it. You are no longer chasing the fleeting shadow of wealth. You are embodying the stable light from which prosperity naturally emanates. The former paralysis concerning complex financial scenarios is replaced by a calm, confident assessment of capacity and possibility. This shift in internal posture removes the arbitrary ceilings you unwittingly installed years ago. The integration of purpose and prosperity means your wealth is now driven by meaningful contribution, lending it resilience and ethical ballast that scarcity-based wealth can never possess. The journey has equipped you not just with insights, but with an entirely new emotional framework. The path forward is no longer defined by how much sacrifice you endure, but by the elegance and congruency of your decisions. You are ready to transcend the low-frequency world of financial stress and enter the expansive reality of financial fluency. The freedom we anticipate is not merely quantified by account balances. It is the deep liberation of internal energy previously consumed by conflict. You are prepared to recognize that the pursuit of abundance is not a moral failing, but a spiritual mandate to maximize your potential and influence. This profound synthesis of mind, emotion, and identity leaves only one crucial element remaining: the final, intentional step that locks this transformation into the enduring fabric of your being. This is the moment to seal the contract with yourself, affirming this new, aligned reality as your permanent setting. The profound realization we arrive at together is this: the true source of your financial liberation was never located in an external investment strategy or a budgeting gimmick. It was seated in the deepest strata of your self-perception. You have successfully identified the phantom limb of scarcity, that persistent, aching sensation of lack that lingered long after the actual threat was gone. By meticulously dismantling the limiting code, you have done more than just improve your finances. You have redefined your operational physics. The heavy cloak of the must-struggle to deserve narrative has been shed, replaced by the quiet, electrifying certainty of worthiness. This is the moment where the internal landscape finally matches the boundless potential of the external world. Imagine standing on the deck of your own life, no longer a frantic swimmer fighting a relentless tide, but the skilled, confident captain of a powerful vessel. For years, you navigated by the flickering, unreliable light of anxiety, fearful of every rogue wave and hidden shoal. The map you used was riddled with warnings passed down through generations, warnings that spoke only of risk, loss, and pain. Now you hold a new chart. This chart is illuminated not by fear, but by clarity and purpose. The financial storm that once terrified you is now merely weather, a dynamic, manageable element that you know how to navigate because you have calibrated the deepest instrument on board: your inner compass. This compass is your unshakable conviction that flow is your natural state and abundance is your intended destination. The final, lasting impact of this transformation is the realization that true wealth is not the accumulation of inert capital. It is a cultivation of financial resilience and emotional neutrality. Resilience means that when inevitable challenges arise, a market dip, an unexpected invoice, your mind no longer spirals into the old panic. Instead, it engages calmly, strategically, recognizing the event as a problem to be solved, not a personal indictment. Emotional neutrality means money is just energy, a measurement of value exchanged. It is neither the arbiter of your virtue nor the cause of your happiness. It is simply fuel for your purpose. When you divest money of its undue emotional power, the power to make you feel ashamed, guilty, or fearful, you strip the scarcity mindset of its primary weapon. This freedom allows you to operate from an elevated, magnetic frequency. You cease chasing money with desperate, contracted energy, which always pushes opportunities away. Instead, you begin to attracting prosperity through the expansive, confident energy of the value you know you provide. The transactions that follow are no longer burdensome. They are expressions of your competence and contribution. This alignment is why opportunities suddenly appear to fall into your lap, why seemingly complex decisions become clear, and why the fatigue of the hustle fades into the focused energy of creation. You are no longer trying to earn security. You are embodying security. Let this final insight guide your enduring practice. Financial self-mastery is a commitment to always lead with your highest value. If you feel the flow slow, do not frantically increase your effort. Instead, increase your awareness. Ask, where am I operating from an old fear? Where am I undervaluing myself? The answers will never be found in a balance sheet, but in the quiet honesty of your self-talk. By consistently choosing the abundant perspective, by treating your time and expertise as precious commodities, and by maintaining a system that reflects order and respect, you sustain the frequency of prosperity. You have made the pivotal shift. The battle is over. The creation has begun. Step fully into this new identity. Let the old narrative of suffering for success dissolve entirely. Embrace the truth that ease and affluence are the natural consequences of aligning your profound inner worth with the powerful external value you bring to the world. Go forth now, not just as a survivor of the financial struggle, but as a deliberate architect of an expansive, joyful, and truly abundant life. The ship is sturdy, the compass is set, and the horizon is wide open. Welcome home to your wealth.